According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, teenage drivers have a higher rate of fatal crashes due to their lack of experience, their lack of maturity, or their lack of driving skill. That leads on to what I'm going to discuss today, which is the importance and the means of training teens to drive more safely, as unsafe teenage driving can lead to very serious consequences. Driving is often considered a rite of passage for many teens and is also the most preferred method of driving because you're able to control when, how, and at what time you want to reach your destination. I myself have been a teenage driver and have had to learn the rules and regulations that go with how I have to obtain my license. I have to stay informed as well because I'm the only person in my family that has a license and must teach my younger siblings. Therefore, today I'm going to discuss the problems of unsafe teenage driving, the causes of unsafe teenage driving, as well as the solutions to unsafe teenage driving. Starting with the problem of unsafe teenage driving. Having a motor vehicle, you will have this ability to cause harm to another person to the extent where you can end their life. And it is the responsibility of the driver, regardless of whether they are an adult or a teenager, to make sure that does not happen. Which is why adults drive more carefully because the consequences of unsafe driving are much more detrimental to them. Unlike for teenagers who are psychologically given more leniency due to their age. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, teenage drivers are more likely to make critical decision errors that can lead to fatal crashes, which is why unsafe teenage driving is a very serious issue because teenagers tend to make more problems on the road as compared to adults. Continuing on to the causes of unsafe teenage driving. The most common cause of unsafe driving for teenagers is using their phone behind the wheel. According to the AAA Exchange website, teens admit to using their phones or texting while behind the wheel, as well as to an infatuated sense in their driving ability. This means that many teenagers, they often see driving with a sense of freedom. This freedom causes them to become more overconfident in their driving ability despite the lack of experience or time on the road, and this causes them to become much more reckless in their driving, which can lead to many more serious repercussions. Continuing on to the solutions I propose for unsafe teenage driving, one of them is being that we teach teens how to drive much more safely in a driving school environment. According to the DMV website, 15-and-a-half-year-olds are able to obtain their learner's permit, then afterward must complete a minimum of 40 hours of supervised driving with a parent, guardian, or a 25-year-old adult with a driver's license. What I propose extends the supervised driving hours recommendation and puts it in a school environment that allows the teenagers to drive much more comfortably and at their own pace, and allows them to become much more focused, develop the necessary skills to drive much more safely, and be less prone to distractions. There's also individual actions one can take as of right now to ensure that their teenagers at home become much more safer drivers. That is being to spend more time on the road with a supervised driver, as well as for teenagers to try to focus more and be less prone to distractions, which means that they should try to drive more without passengers, since teenagers tend to be more distracted with other teenagers. Finally, today we have discussed the problem, cause, and the solution to unsafe teenage driving. Despite everyone with their license at one point being a new driver, which is when they first receive their license after a considerable amount of time, it is very beneficial for one to learn how to drive in a very comfortable driving environment so that they can develop the skills to drive much more safely and be less hastily with their actions. That is all for today.